Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And Alyssa Diggs got washed away in the rain, I guess. She's missing today.
It's Valentine's weekend.
She's making a whole weekend out of this.
She is a young lady in love. Do you really think she was going to show up this weekend?
Okay,
yes.
Well, good for her. All right, that sounds good. So, hey, you guys, so we have a lot on the table today. Well, we have a reasonable amount on the table, but we'll probably make a lot out of it. I think we're going to get the negative stuff out of the way first. We'll talk about Captain America 4, which none of us have plans of seeing. We all hate for some reason, and we all have strong opinions about them. Also, later, though, on the optimistic side, Brandon has some great news for us, potentially great news about some casting in a show that we are planning on watching. And to wrap it up, you guys, if there's time, I want to tell you about a movie I saw called Becoming Led Zeppelin, which is one of the best movies I've seen in a while, surprisingly optimistic, and with a lot of great lessons about creating art the right way. Anyway. But, Brandon, Captain America 4 just came out.
Right.
You excited?
Okay. No. Look, and unlike most of the people on the internet, I'm okay with Sam Wilson being Captain America. In fact, I love Anthony Mackie.
He's great. I liked him as Falcon.
And everything that I've seen about this movie, he gives it his all.
He's a good actor.
But
I like Anthony Mackie.
I don't like the fact that they decided to use a Captain America storyline to basically tie up all the loose ends that they need to get rid of before they start, with the next Avengers movie.
Is that what this is?
It's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, this
should have been a Disney Plus series. Falcon and the Winter Soldier could have been a movie.
There you go.
I'm gonna call this Captain Spackle.
Oh, here we go with the Spackle plot. So,
Well, it is, isn't it, Brandon?
All right, so
it's Hulk 2 that they can't make.
You finally find out what happened to Samuel Stearns, when he got knocked down and that gamma concoction was dripping into his open wound on his forehead.
Yep.
Oh, right. Okay. Because I'm not as familiar with the Red Hulk and everything, but
we're just talking about the original Hulk movie.
We're talking about the leader. Well, the second one.
I sort of forgot
the Ed Norton
that
one.
Yeah.
The Eric Bana Ang Lee movie it wrapped up all its storylines and went away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's still a universal Hulk.
Right, but the thing is that the origin recap in Incredible Hulk, which was the second Universal film, completely threw the other one out, and canonically, that the Incredible Hulk is part of the MCU, but the Ang Lee Hulk is not.
Correct.
Even though it has Stan in it.
I'm curious, though, Brandon, Alan, I got to say, you said this off the air, and I'm just going to say it. I didn't see who the villain was in this movie. Is there a villain?
No, there's a villain.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get to see him in the trailers, which automatically cues the Alan response of, you didn't show me the villain.
Yeah.
Why didn't you show me a villain?
Well,
everybody can't wait to show me Darth Vader. Show me yours.
Are they embarrassed? Is it not intimidating enough? So.
Well, we're going to make Harrison Ford run around in a motion capture suit for 5 minutes of the movie and try to get you to go see it.
Is that what it is?
Here's the thing.
Okay. Well, who's the villain? You didn't tell me.
So we got multiple.
We
got multiple villains. The main villain is the leader, who is a classic Hulk villain, where the gamma radiation caused Banner to become strong. It caused him to become super smart. He's we've seen him in various variations over the years. One, he's got a really tall green head. One, he's got a very bulbous green head, but he's green, and he's not the most intimidating person, but he manages to surround himself with people who can do the job while he has the master plan.
Okay. Gotcha.
He is your main villain here, and his plot is literally just it's to show Thunderbolt Ross for the piece of garbage he is.
Okay. Yeah, it shows what I know. I don't even read the Red Hulk comics. So
all right,
I didn't know that.
Here, you never needed to read the Red Hulk comics to understand that Thunderbolt Ross has got a bug up his butt when it comes to Gamma characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's the father of Betty Ross, who of course married Bruce Banner. He's always had a thing against Banner. He in the MCU He's the one who initiated the Sokovia Accords. He's the one who imprisoned all the heroes at the end of Civil War. He's apparently trying to turn over a new leaf as the president. He's not doing a great job. But
wait a minute. So
What?
that's who this character is?
yes.
Oh, because they change actors.
Well, yeah, because
What is
William
his
Hurt.
act-
William
William
Hurt
Hurt
died.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but okay, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wasn't putting that together at all. So.
They didn't have
Well, then I
enough
would've
AI
known.
on him to keep him in the movie.
No,
There you
I
go.
get it.
But,
I get it. So, yeah.
They turned Joaquin, who we met in Falcon and Winter Soldier, into the new Falcon. He is he's annoying.
Yeah.
He really is. Sam's awesome. Everything I've seen with Sam he's awesome.
I have a big problem
But
with,
you know-
with the only problem I have is why did they give him that stupid headpiece to wear? How is he supposed to look tough and intimidating with his ears sticking out of these white goggle weird head? I don't know. I just think it's a stupid looking outfit.
They got rid of that costume after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The suit he's wearing now has a helmet that has a nano thing that collapses down into the neck.
Oh.
He doesn't have that weird half cali.
I thought I saw. Okay, whatever. That was stupid. And then the top of his skull is fully exposed to
Right.
danger, which
that's
is pretty
because,
stupid.
Because
you know.
somebody at Disney Plus thought it was a good idea to go comic accurate, and it didn't realize that there's a reason why in the real world Gambit wouldn't wear his thing, Cyclops wouldn't wear his
Right.
thing, and
And the Falcon, if
wouldn't-
you were to go period accurate with him, yeah, because in the comics he looks okay, but yeah, that 70s Falcon outfit on screen would look pretty dumb.
well,
so.
I mean, that he also hasn't worn that from since the
Right.
70s, and he's
Yeah.
been in modern comics, so I don't think you would have put him in there anyway.
Yeah,
No, I know.
Wolverine's not going to run around in yellow spandex either. So.
Well,
He
He
already
did.
did.
I know. I'm just pointing it out.
But it basically, it fills in all the gaps. It's like we find out that celestial that was hatching out of the earth, he's full of adamantium. The world is trying to come together to
mine him.
To go mine him, basically.
Does Peter Quill show up to go run around in his cousin's head?
No, thank
Because
God.
it's, I'm just pointing out it's his family.
It doesn't matter.
it's interesting how the tables have turned because there was a time when a new Marvel movie came out, we'd have been there on opening day, and today we just don't care.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. If roasting porgs is wrong, then they don't want to be right. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass.
I kind of hesitated. I kind of buried the lead here, but you guys, your previous conversation really made me think that we're really honoring the holiday weekend. And I'm not talking about Valentine's Day, but an even more important holiday as it is St. Skeletor's Day.
That's not a real holiday.
Oh, it is. The British
Who's Saint Skeletor?
Skeletor, as in the wonderful villain from He-Man. He was invented. The holiday itself was invented by a British comedian by the name of Richard Herring, and these are his words. He considers Skeletor a saint, and that it is a day for him that he is used to honor all the lost souls who haven't anyone to love and are devoted to the destruction of love.
I don't even know how to react to that. Okay. all right.
I feel that we are going to have to start a petition with our fans where Max has to run his holiday ideas by them, and only they can choose whether or not he can do them.
But it's
I don't know,
Skeletor.
though. I have to say, though, Saint Skeletor is a cool name, though. So, I mean, anyway. I've always liked the name Skeletor.
But here's the thing.
But
we, as a collective, are not recognizing Skeletor until he is no longer being played in the live-action movie by Jared Leto.
okay. Oh, I didn't know that was coming.
Oh, yeah, that's coming.
All right. Well, that might be worth the price of admission just to see. Is he going to have to bulk up, or is he...
What are they going to do? Put him in a blow-up suit?
You know what? This is going to be his biggest role ever. I guarantee it. Because what does he have to lose? He already blew it with the Joker. I don't know. What has he got to lose? Playing Skeletor.
Why do you think he has anything to lose? There are still plenty of people who think he walks on water.
I don't know. I would not be surprised if this becomes the role he's known for.
I'm going to say this, Joe.
Yeah.
And I mean it with all due respect. You have as far as your finger being on the pulse of the geek community,
Joe died a while back.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
your hand's not even connected.
You're not helping my point about what the holiday for this weekend is. You
Okay.
guys aren't being very loving, and I love it.
Okay, good. Well, see there, you're
All right, so
spreading discord.
we're also going
by-
to start the petition for a new producer.
No.
Ah.
All right. Actually, I like that one, Max. But okay, let's shift gear. Let's talk about something that I think there's a one person that we all universally love. We love this guy as an actor, and
We do.
and he's possibly being considered for a role in a show that we're actually interested in. I know I'm interested in it, but so what's going on, Brandon? So,
Well, we all love John Lithgow, and currently it looks like John Lithgow will be playing Dumbledore.
he's going to be, or he's in the running.
He is currently. They are currently in negotiations, and it's pretty much a done deal. He's going to be Dumbledore in the new HBO Harry Potter series.
That is interesting. So I wonder. I'm just trying to picture him with a long beard and the hair and everything like that. The thing about John Lithgow, the last time I saw him, he's still pretty active. He was in that movie, the Hulu series, The Old Man, and Dumbledore is a pretty active character too. Right. He could move. John Lithgow could get around a set.
I have only one minor concern, and that has to do with the meta nature of the whole Harry Potter lore and whatever. Because like the actor who played the Dumbledore for the first two movies died and was replaced by another one. Yeah. So I have this fear of John Lithgow being the first Dumbledore, and then let's just say he goes the way of Richard Harris.
Well, thanks, Max, for putting that out in the universe. But he's pretty active, and but okay, I don't know how to react to that.
I'm just thinking, if this show is spanning over the course of 7 seasons rather than like 7 movies, I feel like that's more of a production length than the Harry Potter films were themselves, and so I feel like you have to find a Dumbledore that is in that sweet spot in the middle where they're not too young or they're not too old.
I don't know, Max. Okay.
I might be overthinking it, but
I think you're overthinking it. So look at William Shatner. I mean, he's still going.
The man's indestructible.
All right. What we wanted to talk about were the acting qualities and the presence that John Lithgow would bring to Dumbledore, because Richard Harris had the dignity, he had the look, he had certain qualities, but he didn't really capture the humor that Dumbledore has as a character.
True, but I mean, I think a lot of that falls more on the directors and how the script was chopped up in order to fit it into 2.5 hour movies. So I think we lost a lot of the whimsy that comes with the character, which if you read the books, you see it all. It's all over the place.
That's true. Yeah, and I mean, and subtlety and a certain. There's a lot of times where they say Dumbledore had this certain mischievous twinkle in his eye or something. Right. So just by a glance, and of course we know John Lithgow can emote.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he can. What other sort of things are happening with this project? I've been trying to not get too excited about it because I hope they do it right, but
So yeah, there's little bits and pieces here and there dealing with casting. It is mostly rumors. The biggest one outside of this that I've heard is that they're looking for Phoebe Waller-Bridge to play a character. It didn't say who, but they're also looking at Cillian Murphy to possibly play Professor Quirrell in season 1.
Huh. That's a pretty big get. So Cillian Murphy, yeah. It seems a waste, though, to bring him in for just a one.
Well, yeah, but when you've got an actor who's that sought after, sometimes you can only lock him down for one season.
That's
you
a
get
good
him while
point.
you can get him.
Yeah, you're not going to get him for 7 seasons on a thing. So, okay, that actually makes sense. So that way you come right out of the gate, with a home run, swinging for the fences. So I guess the question's going to be, well, they don't have to think about casting Voldemort for a few more seasons. So
True.
Unless they want to show some, I guess they have to think about casting a young Voldemort for season 2, though. So, but we'll see how this works. This is, in my opinion, though, the optimum way to do Harry Potter's story the right way is still animated. I just think, because, man, I just think,
because with animation you can keep the cost down,
right?
But the sky's the limit as far as the effects.
That's exactly right. And it's just safer. And I think you can do more with it. I just think it would unlock your imagination doing it.
You don't have to worry about, like with Stranger Things, the actors aging out.
Yeah, these actors are 6 feet tall now. And they're supposed, I
am excited.
I'm trying to picture Dumbledore at 6'4". He's going to be like the size of Hagrid.
No,
I'm excited though to hear John Lithgow put on a British accent.
Dumbledore is a tall character. He's
It's
in
not the first
books.
time.
Yeah. So this is cool. We're going to be hopefully optimistic with the future of the Harry Potter Max series.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Wait, are you saying there's a final fight full of CGI where the hero fights a bad guy who has similar powers? Yeah, I guess so. Now that is a Marvel third act. I love it.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And Alyssa, of course, is celebrating Valentine's weekend. I guess that's the new thing, celebrating an entire weekend.
All right, Joe, you're an old thing.
No,
just
I
walk
get it.
away.
It's just okay.
Just walk away.
All right. Well, good for her.
I prefer my Saint Skeletor's day.
Yeah. Okay. Max is
Of
really
course
just
you
trying
would.
to resurrect that one.
No,
Hey,
I just like He-Man.
if you're just good. If you're just tuning in, we were talking about how disinterested we were in the Captain America 4 movie. Are you going to at least watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus?
Well, no, I
Brandon?
mean, that's the thing is I want to see it. I really do. I just am unwilling to pay theater prices to see a movie that I already know everything about.
Okay. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. I just keep wondering, though, if you keep putting out subpar movies, do you start to eat away at some of the movies that were successful in the past? Like, I
Well,
mean,
no, because they already got their bag on those.
they got their money, but then you start. It's like we said, you start analyzing, going, Endgame kind of maybe wasn't as great as I thought it was.
What does Disney care about what you think about stuff that came out 5, 10, 15 years ago?
I don't know.
They don't care, Joe. They want your dollars now.
Well, they're not going about it the right way.
And David Zaslav, as soon as your Harry Potter thing is finished, is probably going to put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because he's David Zaslav, and he's the devil.
Not to sidetrack, but Brandon, I took your advice.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I was asking you advice about my streamlining my streaming services, basically. And you recommended that I bundle the Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max package, which I did. It took us 3 days to figure out how to activate Max because we couldn't find it. It wasn't a simple matter of hit this QR code and then go there and log in and you're good to go.
No,
it was so convoluted.
Well,
We
see,
finally did it last night, and I was ready to just cancel the whole thing.
And see, that's the thing is that the bundles are really cheap, but they make it so nearly impossible to do that you're just like, forget it. I'll just keep paying for all of them because they don't want you to get the bundle. They put the bundle out there for the people who can't afford to have all three of them. But if they want most people to go ahead and just opt for the whole thing.
Is that what it? Because I was like, surely there's a method to this. Because if they wanted to get, it's funny. It's super easy to pay for things. It says hit this link, you pay for it, you're done in 5 seconds. But it's funny how complicated it is to unpay.
And that's the thing is to cancel something.
Yeah.
It takes forever to find the place where you can actually cancel it, and then of course they tell you. It's like, well, you're going to continue to have it for the remainder of the month that you've paid for.
Right.
And during that time, they will hit you with at least 4 different offers, each one getting better as you get closer to that deadline. I remember when I originally canceled Hulu, by the time I came back around, and it was just about to completely expire and everything for the last month, and they gave it to me for $2.99 a month.
Oh, they don't want you to leave once
right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I watch it enough to to pay $2.99 a month for it.
Yeah.
That's how they get you, man.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think at some point there's going to be a streaming reckoning.
Right now, streaming services are at that point of telling you need that extended car warranty. Or you need to go to Endurance in case your car breaks down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's shift gears. So I had a really good movie experience, and I know you guys, it's like pulling teeth to get you guys to go to the movies these days. But and it's true with me. I don't just go willy-nilly like I used to do. But I've been a fan my whole life of the band Led Zeppelin. And of course, I'm more of a fan of probably their first 5 albums or their first 6 albums. But anyway, a movie came out, a documentary called Becoming Led Zeppelin. What intrigued me is it said it's the first authorized biography of these guys, which they're getting up there in age. But but I thought it was surprisingly optimistic. They weren't at all interested in getting into the whole, rock and roll lifestyle and the death of John Bonham and all this other stuff. But what they did was, and I'll give you a few spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it too badly, but they had, I guess John Bonham had only done one or two interviews. So they took the audio and they took some of the snippets of the interview and they interspersed it with the rest of the band members. But what I wanted to roundtable with you guys was one of the things about Led Zeppelin that was completely unique was the fact that, okay, Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones were very experienced musicians. They were like session players for a long time. Well, it wasn't just the musical experience they got. They saw the behind-the-scenes business end of the music business. And so when they formed the band Led Zeppelin, one of the reasons Led Zeppelin has been so successful and one of the reasons they've had such innovative music is right out of the gate, Jimmy Page was a smart enough creator to structure it where basically he could produce the music himself. He had his own production studio. Basically what they did is they recorded an entire album exactly the way they wanted it. And then they approached a record label and said, this is the album. Do you want it? If not, we're going somewhere else. They had what he did. He structured it where they had 100% creative freedom. And I've never heard of that before. I mean, I'm sure some bands have done that. And that's why every album could be its own feel. And it could be, I don't think Led Zeppelin would have sounded the same if they did the traditional route. So
you're probably right. I mean, you hear about it nowadays where guys, put together their whole kit and caboodle in-house in their home studios because nowadays you have access to that equipment, whether it be through various AI altering apps or just, various software you can get for your computer. But even today, I think there's this, I don't want to call it shadiness. But I think there is this almost underhanded way that, it's like they get your album, they hear it, and they go, we just want to make a few tweaks so that they get you into the studio so they can get creative control. And by getting creative control, they get your catalog. And because you re-recorded it with them, it belongs to them now. The thing about doing it at home or at his home studio, they made sure that they had full rights to that album as well.
It's kind of like, it reminds me a little of Matt Groening with The Simpsons. He was like, by the way, I'd like all the marketing or whatever it was for the for products and stuff. It was smart business that led to great art. We'll continue talking about that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Please, you give me too little credit.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And our pal Alyssa Diggs will be back next week. If you're just tuning in, I was talking about a really great documentary I saw called Becoming Led Zeppelin. It was in the IMAX theater. I hope you guys will see it when it comes out on streaming. I was really pleasantly surprised because I've been a fan of Led Zeppelin for years. I expected this to be all about, how difficult the rock, making rock music is, what it does to you, the early death of John Bonham and everything, but it really wasn't that at all. It was all about creating art, and really there was great life lessons in there as well. But you guys, before the break, I was talking about one of the things that might be easy to overlook is the fact that Jimmy Page was a brilliant businessman, and he used his business savvy to give him creative freedom and to structure the band in a way where they could make any music that they wanted. And basically, he had enough experience in the production studio where they could produce the music and basically take it to the label and say, this is the album, take it or leave it. And, that was the way they operated. And, whether you love them or hate them, their music is definitely different. And it's their own. They own it.
I will say that their music is good, but I'm not sure whether or not they could. There's a difference between like good musicians and artists and performers, because like a lot of their music is really good, but it can't really be performed feasibly.
Yeah, live that was the problem. They did such really cool studio work that they couldn't reproduce it on stage. And so I've heard Led Zeppelin wasn't great in concert. I mean, I'll never know because I didn't get to see them, but It's interesting.
I'm really going to beg to differ
Talk to me.
because
Did you-
they threw a show, baby.
Okay.
All right, is it a show like you think of a show these days? Did they have fireworks? Did the stage burst into flame? Or did the grip tied to a boon hanging above Led Zeppelin put a spotlight on people in the audience while Robert Plant, absolutely shredded a song of, I mean, it was a different experience.
Well, let's I'll agree with you on that. So basically, because like if you listen to The Song Remains the Same, that's a live album they recorded. And it's like the quality of music is good, but if you want to hear Stairway to Heaven or the Rain song and you think you're going to hear exactly what was on the studio album, it sounds completely different. So maybe that's the nature of it. It disrupts your expectations. It's going to sound different live. So.
That was true for the Beatles. That was true for the Pretenders. That was true for any 60s, 70s band because it was analog recording back then. Mm-hmm. So the equipment you recorded it on actually gave it a certain feel or look, which is why certain studios were so massively popular, or certain venues like the Royal Albert Hall were so important to the bands as they performed.
Right.
And in a little bit of twisted history, you get to bring up the Memphis Shell because pretty much any band that wanted to be on tour came through Memphis in the 60s and played there.
Well, Memphis actually is referenced here in this movie, too. I mean, obviously, we know they had...
A little hint.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Memphis Mini, is that correct?
Well, a lot. I mean, the whole thing. Robert Plant still, to this day, drops... He'll just show up in Memphis, and they love Memphis. And, of course, they were fans of Elvis, but they were big blues... This was a blues band, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't forget. So, but I guess what it was for me was thinking of how smart it is to be, how important it is to be a good businessman and also structure things where it gives you creative freedom. I'm just thinking of how many movies, probably, what do we talk about? Designed by committee or things like that.
Well,
great possible art gets ruined because the suits get involved. So,
well, I'm going to toss it a slightly different direction and just kind of go, another part of this particular band and a few others was they got up and went to work.
Yeah, they had a good work
This
ethic.
wasn't, me and Brandon have been mates since we was 4 years old in the coal mines of Lithuania, and now we're going to be in a band together. And this was much more of a business and the business can either help a band propel forward, like Led Zeppelin, or being in business can cause a lot of problems, like the Beatles.
Yeah, it's true because if you look at that, they weren't together that long, And Led Zeppelin only broke up because John Bonham died, and they just thought that we're not going to try to replace him.
We've done what we could do as that particular entity.
Right. So, I mean, we don't know if they'd still be performing today. I have no idea. But,
I don't
know.
know.
They produced a lot of, what is it? 9 records, I think. And not all of them were, I didn't love all of them. That Presence album did nothing for me. But one thing about Jimmy Page that was interesting, too, was they had a philosophy of they wanted every album to have its own unique feel. So they didn't become cookie cutter, and every time a new album came out, it was sort of a new surprise. And marketing-wise, I mean, they've sold, I don't know, I mean...
they're still being sold, and they're still on the soundtrack of any number of Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me think of my whole philosophy about albums, or my inquiry about albums. Are albums a collection of just songs, kind of like gathering photos in a photo book? Are they just sort of like a random collection of songs that happen to be in a thing that we call an album, or do they keep to a consistent theme? And it sounds like Led Zeppelin kind of is more along the latter.
Kind of, but then there were songs in there that, I don't know. It depends, because the Immigrant song came out of number 3, and that's the only song I remember of that third album. But I think it depends. Maybe it's up to your interpretation, what you get out of it. I've heard albums where there's a consistent story throughout, and I've heard others where every song is completely different.
The Wall kind of spoils us because that is a pretty consistent story.
Yeah, that's about as obvious and heavy-handed as you can get. That is obviously one story. But anyway, I highly recommend it. If you're out there and you're curious about this movie, go check it out. You can watch it with your kids, too. There was really nothing even... I mean, it was pretty tame for a Led Zeppelin movie. I thought it was great. But all right, you guys, well, the show's over. We got to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Brandon Umstead, reminding you to send all of the Skeletor memes you can find to Max by the end of midnight tonight.